Hello, this is Captain Sparrow of SV Akuna Matata. Told you guys last night I would provide you with an update of the Teak. Me and Swan were up until about 1 o'clock dealing with it. There's Swan. We are finally done with the Teak. Looks amazing. I love it. The dark color. Oh, I'm falling over. Hope's tripping on me. And now we are into the next project of the house batteries. Yeah, right? Cluster. Working on the battery system here itself on the solar charger. As you can see, the wires going down the mast step from the forward hatch. Our solar panel is in the same location it was. We are hooking that up, including all of the house bank. That means all of the wires there. The guy that I had bought it from, he stated that all of the lights had worked, all of that. He had somebody come out and work on the wiring itself. And update on that one. I don't know where it was hooked up to, but I have a fresh start on the control panel, which I am not complaining. I would rather have a fresh start and know where everything is. But the fun part of every boat, look out, Hope, is this. The paradise bird nest of wires that go for a reason to a certain spot, which is always fun to trace. 90% of boaters that get boats like this, they get a hold of them and they just start cutting the wires out and rewire the entire thing. That is why I have the large-ish spool of wire that I can find. There's that one, and then as you can see, the red, I have over 3,000 feet of wire to do this entire boat with everything, because you have to take into effect 34 feet repeatedly, not only once but twice per unit. So you've got your positive and your negative. Now, how you save this, how you save all of these clusters of wires going back into the back end repeatedly, is you run a single positive and a single negative around the entire vessel. From the battery bank, or your load unit on your solar, you run from that to your buses over here. You will have your positive and your negative, one complete unit. Start from your battery bank and loop your boat, so it is one continuous loop. Now when you do that, then you can just tap into those buses. You can put these buses in certain spots, then you don't have to wire it from one unit to another and piggyback things, and it makes it more difficult. You got a short somewhere, you can walk up and tug on a wire and it takes like 20 minutes to find your short, versus going through and finding everything like we did with the westerly. For you guys that were watching me and Sailing View Zane go through the westerly and tear everything out because it looked like this, to figure it out. A lot of people fret and fraternize on this certain thing, because I get it, I understand. That's a lot of wires. It's terrifying cutting them, because the next moment you don't know if your motor's gonna run or not, or you don't know what the next unit is. Because I pulled out this wire. Nice battery cable there that was live. That had to be connected in order for the motor to turn on. Now the positive, I don't have to run a positive over there. That's the positive of that positive. The negative point in that is now I got to figure out where to put it, where it's safe. It's not going to burn my boat down, and it's not going to catch against the ground and short my stuff out. Because literally to test it, I took my voltage meter, sitting right down there. I took it, I touched the positive wire, and I touched the chain plate. That's all I had to do. Now, water gets down in there, it touches it, which is connected in the same bowl. That little hatch right there, that little spot could fill up with water. My stanchion broke loose right there. Could have filled up with water. There's always, it could happen. So you have to, if it does happen, you're prepared to shut something down, which is why I was talking about the buses in certain locations. And you always have those shove-in connectors. You can just grab a hold of that and pull. Comes right out. You don't have to put a special breaker there or something like that. It's a waste of money. You're going to end up spending 10 grand just to wire your entire boat. I heard somebody the other day said they spent $3,000 wiring their boat. You know what I paid? $9 at Walmart and sponsor gifted wire. That's what I paid. And the wire itself was actually at a scrapyard. We ended up going and picking up the spools because somebody had turned them in. We said, hey, where can we find wire at? Well, we ended up finding it at the scrapyard. By the spool stacks. So we ended up picking that up. And from picking that up, I'm going to rewire this whole thing because then I know where it's at. And the greatest words of any wisdom is a captain is not a true captain unless he knows every inch of his vessel. I have to know every inch of this boat. So if anything goes wrong and I've got somebody on this boat, they are not going down. And I could not stress that enough. I've stressed it on a couple of crews that I've been with. Because crews will sit there and they were like, oh yeah, let's do it this way and let's do it that way. Let's do it. I've had MFOs be like, oh, we'll just hop on and we'll go for a cruise right now. No. You check everything. Everything before you leave the marina. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen out there. So I'd rather be prepared and know what is going to happen when it happens out there. Because it could be something like the packing gland is bad. You never even think anything of it. Guy just bought the boat. Oh yeah, it's just rebuilt. And there's always going to be the owners. Just like the previous boat. It's a wonderful boat. It's the sturdiest boat I've ever seen in my life. Bam. I had a termite-infested vessel. Completely infested. Down to bare hull. Which, as you know, in a marina, if you know sailboats, you can't just bare hull it without the mast off. Which was a couple of grand to yank the mast off. Which was not a step I was willing to take. With it about to come through the floor with my wife on board. Because in the middle of the night where we were sleeping, the mast was hanging above our heads. It slipped. It wasn't just a regular, it falls through the floor, blah, blah, blah. No. It's all of the precautions taken because that mast itself could drive itself through somebody's body, leg, limb, and make a lifelong change. It could make an amputee because that mast is, the owner was like, oh yeah, the mast ain't that heavy, blah, blah, blah. It is when it's a piece of steel pile driving itself down. Not to mention, it's not only the mast, it's the steel cables that hold the mast. That standing rigging is insane amount of weight. If